Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Mikey back here, and today we're going to be recapping the NBA trade deadline, what I think all of the major trades were, and how they impacted each team, as well as just a season outlook so far for basically almost a little bit past the first half of the season for the Hawks and teams that made some major trades. So that's what's to look forward to in this video. I know I haven't made a lot of videos lately. I've been skipping on the recaps. I've had a lot of college work, and also I've been trying to locate an internship as well. So that's what I've been busy with this past week. But I think the videos will start coming more regularly now that the process is almost done. But first, we'll go over some of the trades. First big trade that broke out really was the Kings and the Pacers. The Kings sent Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield and Tristan Thompson to the Pacers, and the Pacers sent back Tyrese Halliburton, Jeremy Lamb, and Justin Holiday. So on the surface, many Kings fans really were upset about this trade, and I can understand that. You know, Tyrese Halliburton a few days before that had just said he wanted to change the winning culture in Sacramento. He wanted to give it a winning atmosphere, and he wanted to be there to switch the culture of the organization around, and then they go and trade him. I can see how Tyrese Halliburton's upset about that, and how their fans would be upset about that. But if you look at it a little bit more closely, I don't think it was that bad for the Kings. I do think the Pacers will eventually win the trade. I think Halliburton has a lot of potential. I think he can possibly develop into a fringe all-star type caliber player, and he's already had a great start with the Pacers, as well as Sabonis has had a great start with the Kings. But the Kings got back the best player in this trade, Domantas Sabonis. He's had a great start with the Kings. They're 2-1, I believe, since he started playing games with them. And you know, I think the Kings. I like this move from the Kings. They also got Dante DiVincenzo in a trade, and I think that really helps with their shooting. With Sabonis, obviously he's a great passer, so you need shooters to surround him. And with De'Aaron Fox not being the most knockdown shooter, and neither is Davion Mitchell, Dante DiVincenzo really brings in some shooting and some defense. So I like the move that the Kings have made. The Kings made at the deadline, and you know, if they push for a play-in spot and they get it, you know, that's great for them, because that's moving the needle for them, and it's going to get more people in the seats and get more revenue coming to the Kings, to a Kings organization that hasn't really had a great pass. But on the Pacers side of things, the negative thing for the Pacers here, and the positive thing for the Kings, was that, you know, the Kings got rid of Buddy Hield's contract. The Pacers now have to handle that, and I'm pretty sure the Pacers were trying to move Buddy Hield again at the trade deadline. They weren't able to find a suitor for him, but he's not on the greatest contract. It's not very team friendly at the beginning, and that was great that the Kings got off of him. But Tyrese Halliburton, man, he's been so good already with the Pacers. I think he had 16 assists, like 22 points just the other night. So he's been performing well, and this trade, I think, is definitely going to work out for both teams. The next big trade that went down, I believe, was the CJ McCollum trade to the Pelicans for Josh Hart, and that was the main piece. Those were the main piece in those trades. And CJ McCollum has played pretty well for the Pelicans. You know, once with Zion, Brandon Ingram, and CJ McCollum, like, you never know. Like, that definitely could be a dangerous trio. Obviously, we need to see Zion healthy and back on the court. But, you know, CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram, two elite shot makers and shot creators, and then you have Zion Williamson, who's just like a freak of nature, driving to the basket. So with that power of driving to the basket that Zion has, and the perimeter shooting that Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum, and shot creating that they possess, that could be a dangerous trio right there. So I like this move from the Pelicans. For the Blazers, they're just creating cap space, I believe. You know, they got back Josh Hart, and he's been playing great for them. He's been knocking down threes. You know, he's going to rebound and play great defense, but he's been knocking down three for the Blazers. And Damian Lillard stayed put. You know, they wanna reconfigure the team around Damian Lillard, and Anthony Simons seems to be one of those pieces. He's been balling out ever since he had that game against the Hawks, when the Hawks lost to the Dameless and CJ-less Blazers. And Anthony Simons put up, I believe, 43 points against us. Ever since that game, he's been balling. So shout out to Anthony Simons. But the Josh Hart piece is a nice piece for the Blazers. and they're looking to retool the roster. So I don't believe that was a bad trade for either sides. But now we're gonna get into the big one. James Harden went to the 76ers. They did it for Ben Simmons, or as well as Paul Millsap going to the 76ers for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks going back to Brooklyn. And Brooklyn didn't just give up Harden and say, okay, we'll take Harden. Like, they got back some quality players, too. Seth Curry already had a great game for them, scoring 23 points. And Andre Drummond is definitely a paint presence that they'll need because they were short in their front court depth. With Nick Claxton not being really what he expected, and he's also been injured quite a lot. So Andre Drummond definitely helps them. Seth Curry's another shooter around Ben Simmons. So that's great for that. That's great for Ben Simmons and that roster creation. And I think the Nets are really going to be scary. KD comes back, and if they're taking away the vaccine mandate, like I've been hearing some about, and Kyrie comes back, that trio could be nasty. For the 76ers side of things, I definitely think it wasn't the best move. I mean, yes, Harden, you have to do everything you can to try and win a championship with this season Embiid is having. I mean, he's been crazy. He's such a talent, and him and Jokic undoubtedly the top 2 MVP candidates in my opinion. But Embiid and Harden can definitely work. Harden likes to play iso ball, and Embiid's not the greatest rim runner off the pick and roll. So we'll see how that works. But James Harden's worked with a lot of lob centers in his career, like Nicholas Claxton, for example, Clint Capella, Dwight Howard. So we'll see how he does with a more post-centric and post-scoring big in Joel Embiid. But I do believe the 76ers had to make this move. Daryl Morey gave up a lot, and the Nets are, I think, definitely the better team still, but because they lost some of their depth too. And many people might say this is stupid, but I believe the 76ers had to make this move. I think they had to trade Ben Simmons. They needed to go for championship as soon as possible because, Embiid with his injury career could have a shortened season. A shortened career, and you don't know how long he's going to play at this MVP level. So I believe it was the right move for the 76ers if Brooklyn became this like crazy team, which is what I believe they'll be, even though the Kyrie, Harden, and KD thing didn't work out. On trade deadline day, in a shocking development, Kristaps Porzingis was traded to the Wizards for Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans. On the Mavericks side of things, that's a salary dump. They tried the Luka and Porzingis thing, and while he was playing well, he wasn't really on the court. I mean, we've all known the injury history with Kristaps Porzingis, and just to trade him for Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans, both of them having horrible seasons after Davis Bertans actually got a really good contract, which he didn't deserve. But I don't know what the Mavericks were thinking here, but I guess it's just more of the salary dump and say, okay, Luka, we signed you to the max, you'll stay. We're going to retool this roster, kind of like similar to the Blazers, and they've been playing well. I mean, Luka and the Mavs have done well without Porzingis, so they're like, okay, we may not really need you that much. So that's what they decided to do. And on the Wizards side of things, this move doesn't hurt. I don't think it'll make Bradley Beal really, really want to stay, but if he wants the max, I don't think the Wizards should pay. I think they should either do a sign and trade or trade him next season maybe. But Porzingis helps Beal, and the Wizards can possibly make the play-in with that duo of Bradley Beal and Washington. So I don't see this really from this deal from the Mavericks in the middle of the season. I don't like that deal that they did, especially getting back Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans. But on the Wizards side of things, I do like the deal to get Kristaps. And the Wizards also got Montrezl Harrell, traded Montrezl Harrell for Ish Smith and Vernon Carey. And the Hornets now have a quality big. I thought they were going to go more the defensive option because Montrezl Harrell's not that great defensively, but offensively, definitely a lob threat for LaMelo, another one besides Miles Bridges. And the Hornets will definitely improve, I think, with Montrez. But going back to that 4-team trade earlier, we had, as I said, Dante DiVincenzo going to the Kings, Marvin Bagley going to the Pistons. And that's great. It's great for Marvin Bagley. Change the scenery. He never was great in Sacramento. uh, didn't play a lot either, and his father had always expressed him how he needed a better situation, needed to get out of Sacramento, so he did, and he's with a rebuilding Pistons team, so hopefully Dwayne Casey will give him a ton of minutes and he can show what he can do. But overall, that was the really significant moves of the trade deadline that are on off the top of my head. But now we're moving on to the Hawks. The Hawks didn't do anything at the deadline. Obviously, they moved Cam Reddish a few weeks back, but that was a really big issue. You know, we got a first round pick for that in Kevin Knox, and which is looking like a great trade now because the Knicks aren't really utilizing Cam Reddish. But the Hawks so far this year, it's safe to say, definitely underwhelming. You know, we went through that COVID period, we went through that injury period, but we should still be over 500 at least by like 5 games. We've had so many games slip through the cracks, and our defense has just been bad. You had Clint Capella coming out and said we don't have enough defensive-minded guys, and it takes hard to play defense, and it really does. I mean, Clint Capella, Onyeka Okongwu, DeAndre Hunter, and DeLon Wright are the only players that really have a defensive-minded mindset on this team. And while Dre has struggled offensively, all players have regressed. Kevin Huerter has not been performing well. DeAndre Hunter hasn't been performing well. DeLon Wright's not what he is last year in the first few years. Really, the only people who have improved are JC, Trey, and Onyeka Okongwu. Bogey pretty much just stayed the same. Once he's came back from injury, he's averaging around 17 points per game. So that's pretty on par with what he did at the beginning of the second half last year. So that's great to see Bogey can come back and prove that he's definitely a great player. And Gallo has been struggling over the past week, even though he recently went through a great stretch. So we'll see what the Hawks do in the offseason, but I do think big changes will come to this team in the offseason if the Hawks don't make it very far in the playoffs. Who knows, that might be John Collins, that might be DeAndre Hunter. I don't think so. I think more likely John Collins, but who knows really at this point. Hawks have had an underwhelming season, and I think Travis Schlenk is definitely on watch in this second half really closely, because I think a big roster shakeup might be due in the offseason. But I don't know for who, but I just think that this team just doesn't have it right now in terms of a mindset and just effort on the defensive end. Our offense, it's always going to be good when we have one of the greatest pick and roll players of all time, generational offensive talent in Trae Young. But our defense is just where the problem lies. Hopefully we can get some more defensive guys. And that reminds me, the Celtics got Derek White. The Hawks were looking into them. I definitely wanted Derek White, but overall the Celtics sent Josh Richardson and a first-round pick to the Spurs for Derek White. That's a great move for the Celtics. I think Derek White is what they need. That missing, pass-first defensive guard who can handle the ball. And I think the Celtics greatly improved with that. And that's another asset that the Hawks lost on. So hopefully the Hawks can get it together here in the second half and make a push for a top play-in spot seed. But I don't think we make the playoffs. I think we'll be in the play-in, and who knows, if this team can get hot at any point. We saw it going into the playoffs. So if we get hot in the play-in, who knows, maybe we can make a deep run. But overall, this season definitely been disappointing. 4 games under 500 at 26-30 with 2 games left before the All-Star break. We play against the Cavs tonight and the Magic tomorrow. Hopefully we can win these 2 games with a little bit of momentum heading into the break. But that's it for this video. I'll probably be doing a double recap for both of these in the back-to-back tonight and tomorrow night. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you guys later. Thanks.